It's the Daylight Midnight Show.
Hello and welcome. Later on in this show I'm going to be eating Marmite and Toothpaste together, which I'm really apprehensive about, so stick around for that. And let's start the show though by going for our fragile, agile indicator. And I'm going to be completely honest this week, as I always intend to be on this show, and I'm going to set that to the word fragile. Feeling a little out of sorts generally. A little bit of a sore throat, don't know if it's late hay fever or the early onset of a cold, and a little bit of pain as well, which is why I've already rearranged the White Wall of Wonders. I don't really like doing anything off camera in between the episodes, but I thought if I'm having to keep moving around to move stuff around, it's going to make me a little bit uncomfortable. So I've already rearranged our snakes and tried to get them so I can fit as many as possible onto the White Wall of Wonders. And I've left a little gap there for this week's entrance. So that brings me to our snake of the week. So if you remember, I've decided that I'm going to do a drawing of a snake every week and hopefully get better. And I decided a couple of weeks ago that this one's going to be our template. So this is our fellow and we're going to improve him every week. Last week I did that and I said I'm going to add a little bit of colour. So this week, I'm not sure about this, but this is our snake of the week this week. So positives first. I like what I've done with the face. I think I'm getting real character in the face and I think the colour has helped. What I need to get right is this bit of the body just stays the same. It goes a bit weird down here, so I need to work out how to improve that. I don't think this worked. I tried to add that extra bit of colour like I did with the Cobra one, but I don't think that's worked. And I've noticed with the tail this wasn't sitting right, and I noticed looking back at the original one, the tail is right near the back, which kind of explains a bit, because I think this bit I've shaded in is supposed to be part of the body. So this part of the body goes around and curls around and ends up being the tail. And that only works if it's right near this end. So that's a lesson I've learned for next week. So I'm not overly impressed with that one, but what's a good thing is that I'm not worried about that because I get another chance next week. And it's taken me 9 weeks to understand that. That I think I pressure myself, and sometimes if things aren't perfect, then they're pointless. And the whole exercise of this was that I wanted you to see me improve. And now I've decided it's going to be the same snake every week, just designed slightly differently. I feel like I've taken the pressure off myself, because when I look at that and notice errors, I go, it's okay, because I'll improve that next week. So this is our snake of the week. I'm going to need a new bit of tack for that. I don't want to use that whole bit, so let's do that. So he can sit there proudly for another 7 days, and I'll take the time to have another go at one of those before the next show. And I still haven't bought myself new pencils, so that's something else I need to put on my list. So speaking of lists, as if this is how professional I am, just notes written down on a bit of paper. It's terrible, isn't it? Do you remember the early days? I think it's series 2 I used to print out a running order and have it below the camera, but I am what I am. I'm sorry, you'll have to take me as you find me. So what have I written down recently? The show is better when I record in the morning, not in the afternoon. That's just a little production point. Last week I think was especially different because I was working in the morning, rushed back to quickly do the show before rushing out to work somewhere else. And I think that showed. It showed to me anyway, you might not have noticed. So I think it's just a little thing for me. When I'm here, I get up in the morning, I get into show mode, I do the show. I think they are the best ones. And then I've got another list. Last week I did women's names in teams that are taking part in the World Cup, because I can't just sit there and watch the football. I get distracted by coming up with little word puzzles in my own head. So I thought I'd do some men ones. So I noticed, and I'll probably put these on the screen, that the word Greece has the word the word Reese, which is a name. Obviously things like Uzbekistan has Stan, as do Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, etc. I don't know if they're the same Stan, but you can get that name from all of them. Credit to my son for this one, who realised that New Zealand has the word Alan in it. But I think the winner with this has to be the European country that is made up of 2 men's names. So well done to Denmark. And I'm going to stop at that point, because what happened next was, I thought there must be other countries. There's about 200 countries. There must be more where you can find a hidden name in. So I brought up a list of the countries and I was going through them all, and I noticed lots of different things. And then I started looking for company names, and then it took me off in a completely different direction. I thought, no, I don't have time to do this. It won't be very interesting on camera. So let's leave it there. So I will just end by saying that the favourite one has to be Bolivia, right? Because you've got a full girl's name there, you add 1 letter and you have the name of the country. So whatever our prize is, it's awarded to the country Bolivia. And if you happen to notice any others, do feel free to send them to me. So we go now to our notes from the phone, which when I'm not scribbling things down on bits of paper, I just make little notes on my phone when I'm on a bus or in the middle of a film or something. So a couple of things this week, and I'm going to put the first 2 together and you'll understand why. mentioned my idea to write a song about hating the blues, and my memory is so bad now, I don't know if I've said any of this before. So a thought will come to me, and I'll write it down, and then I'll think, I might have talked about that already on a previous edition, because my memory's getting so bad. But I had this idea a few months ago about writing a blues song, because there was a song I was doing and it sounded a bit bluesy, and someone said to me, have you ever written a blues song? And I went, no. And then I went, what I'd like to write is a blues song about someone who hates the blues. So he's writing a blues song, and the only thing he's got to be blue about is the fact that he hates the blues. I haven't done it yet, so I think if I say it out loud to you, it might provoke me to come up with one for next week, and will I maybe premiere it on the show next week? Maybe if I get it done. Interesting name. Now I said at the start, maybe episode 1 or 2, that I was going to try and come up with an interesting person of the week, someone you didn't know about, or an interesting name. So this is cheating a little because it's a name of something, but it does tie into that previous idea that I haven't done since. So I'm going to talk to you about Snowball sentences, and the name Snowball sentence will make sense when I explain what it is. The official name is a Ropalic sentence, which is spelled Rhopalic, and a Snowball sentence is a sentence where the first word starts with one letter, or has one letter, the second word has 2 letters, the third word has 3 letters, and so on, and you go as far as you can, but it still has to make sense. So I am not here is a Snowball sentence, and the longest one I believe has 20 words in it. Someone worked out it's about doctor's handwriting. So there's a 20-word sentence where the first word has 1 letter, and so on and so forth, all the way up to a 19-letter word and then a 20-letter word. Well done to them. I decided to have a go, and I'm quite proud of myself for getting as far as 10 letters. So forgive the topic of this, but it does work. I am not with Kathy Bowman because religion obstructs conjoining. There you go. That is my own little Daylight Midnight Show 10-word Ropalic sentence. And I might try and write another one for next week and beat my record and get to 11. And finally, is this ironic? Someone falling asleep while watching the film Insomnia actually happened to me in the past 7 days or so. So that's that cleared off. The decks are clear for us to now do our taste test of the week, which, if you remember from last week, the colander of culinary charms threw up cheese and onion crisps, Marmite and toothpaste. So I can't remember putting toothpaste on the list, but it's there. So I've bought these Seabrook, sorry, can you actually see well enough there? I brought this Seabrook bag of crisps because they are crinkle cut, and for some reason in my head I thought it would be better having a crinkle cut crisp because you can get more stuff in the crinkles. What I've bought, I have to confess, is not actual Marmite, because the cheap supermarket own brand is cheaper, but actually it does seem to be exactly the same stuff, and when I looked up in the ingredients they seem to be the same. It's got to be a healthy dose or it doesn't count. I did nearly buy Bovril, which does seem to be available in a lot more supermarkets than Marmite or a similar thing. However, Marmite is based on yeast and Bovril is based on beef paste, so I thought it's not the same thing and I have to stay true. So this is just a cheap version of Marmite. And now I have to put on toothpaste. I've gone with Aqua Fresh Complete Care Whitening just because it's a very pretty colour. So it's minty, but I just thought the colours would be nice on top of there. Oh, it smells so strong, minty. So there you go. Is that enough on there? I think it probably is, because that smell's going to taste is going to overpower everything. So, oh man, are you fed up with me doing these yet? Cheese and onion crisp, Marmite and toothpaste. This week's taste test. Here we go. I mean, weirdly enough, it kind of works. Maybe in the same way that the ginger one did, where there's just so much flavour hitting your mouth that you go, wow! But actually, the saltiness of the Marmite and the mintiness of the toothpaste and the fact that they're both pastes really seems to go well together. I'm going to have a drink because the toothpaste is sticking to my throat and burning. Man drinking on camera, what a fascinating YouTube channel that would be. So, weirdly enough, I'm tempted to call that a yes. For the flavours, not necessarily for the experience of having it. And you couldn't eat loads of toothpaste, could you, on your lunch? However, I mean, my suggestion would be, if you happen to work for Marmite, come up with a minty flavoured one and call it Marmint. Because that kind of works. So for the first time in weeks, and surprisingly, bearing in mind the ingredients, I'm going to give that one a yes. So, let's find out what we're going to do next week. We've got the colander, we've got our 32 ingredients. We put the 32 ingredients in the colander, we mix them all up. One of them falls on the floor, do excuse me. So I mix all these up, I pull out 3 ingredients, and whatever those 3 ingredients are, I have to eat them together. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? So this is ingredient number 1. So next week it will be a banana. Again, that's not nice. I didn't enjoy the banana experience last week. We will also have cold rice, which again has been in before and wasn't particularly pleasant. And finally, ingredient number 3, there's 2 there, so I'm just going to drop them both in and start again. That one's on its own. Ingredient number 3 will be frozen peas. That feels similar to something we've had before, but we didn't have the banana in it. So frozen peas, cold rice and a banana. That will be what I'll take on next week's taste test. There'll be another snake. Oh, and maybe a song about the blues. But I have to name what I've just eaten. I can't use Marmite because I want Marmite to use that. So I will call that taste test that I've just done, that product, that particular food items put together, I'm going to call it Marmitely surprising. That's weak, but it's the best I can come up with. I'll see you next week. Have a great 7 days.